Behind me is our indoor growing space. This is the secret to success. This is how we get a head start with the warmth-loving summer plants. So let me show you how and why we use this. Hi, I'm Brad and this is Grow with the Dexters. Today we're not down the allotment, as you can probably tell. We're in the kitchen having a late night sesh, sowing and growing. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a run through of our indoor setup and the production line and how it works. But first, a bit about the setup. I bought it off Amazon. It wasn't much, it was about £30, so I think it's well worth it, the investment. It doesn't cost much to run because it's LED lights. It consists of a bottom seed tray followed by these trays, and then it has the lid on which has the lights already built in, and the lights are really handy. They have the on and off switch. They have lots of different settings within the lights that you can brighten the light or change the light depending on the colour of the spectrum. They're really good, but I wouldn't recommend keeping the seedlings in it too long because the lights aren't that strong. So we only really keep them in for 2 weeks, and then they're out of these cells, potted on, and then they're in the hotbed where they're getting full light from the polytunnel and the heat protection from the heat from the hotbed. So the plants we use this setup for are our aubergines, peppers, tomatoes, melons, cucumbers, courgettes, squash, then runner beans, French beans and sweet corn, in that order. So we've started off with peppers and aubergines first. These were sown the first week of March. They take a little bit longer than tomatoes to come up, that's why I sow them first. So these are about 10 days old, and then I've soaked my tomato seeds and my melon seeds in water about 4 days ago, and they've just started sprouting now. So I'm going to show you how I transfer them from the tissue into there to then end up like that. So if you've watched some of my videos already, you'll know that I just use a multi-purpose compost for my seedling mix. I just sieve it. So it's pre-sieved and it's pre-soaked, so it's wet and it's very fine. It's perfect for seeds and young seedlings, and then even at a bit of a later stage because it holds more nutrients. So I'm just going to dib a little hole in each cell. And then using my trusty tweezers, I'm just going to pop the seed in, tap root facing down, and then leave it at that. I don't want to be messing around with it too much. I just want to get it in the compost and it will sort itself out. It doesn't matter if there's a bit of tissue on the roots, all will be fine. So yeah, with these seeds, put it in a airtight container for a few days, somewhere warm in the house. And when I start seeing the sprouts coming out of the seeds, I'll then transfer it into here. And then once we've got our seeds in, I'll just lightly cover over the tops with some fresh sieved compost. Firm it down ever so slightly. And then make sure I put my label in so I know which variety is which. With tomatoes, I don't go mad on varieties. I just have one beefsteak variety and one cherry tomato. So I need about 16 plants. So I'll grow 20. So I've got some spare of each, just in case. So now we've got the tomatoes done, it's time to do the melons. So same as before, I'll get my dibber, poke a bit of a bigger hole in this one because melon seeds are quite big. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to run you through the timeline of the different fruits and vegetables that we grow. So it starts off with the first week in March. I'll sow peppers and aubergines. I say sow, I'll put them in tissue to let them get through the germination phase. I do that because it means that you've definitely put in a viable seed into your space and you're not wasting time having to then re-sow seeds. So you know every seed you put in is perfect and you're going to have full trays and just a few more plants than you actually need. So anyway, where was I? So yeah, the first week in March, I'll sow peppers and aubergines. And then the third week, which is where we are now, I'll do tomatoes and melons because melons take a bit longer than cucumbers. So I always do them a bit before. And then the first week in April, I'll sow cucumbers, courgettes and squash plants. And then the third week in April, it's French beans, runner beans and sweet corn. And they'll stay in the indoor setup for 2 weeks. And then they'll get moved to the hotbed and they'll spend the rest of their life in there until our last frost date, which is around the middle of May. It varies each year. It could be the end of April. Like last year, we had a really late frost. So I just keep them in the hotbed until the last frost is well and truly gone. and then I take the lid off the hotbed and then just let them chill there for a bit until I'm ready to plant them. So I'll just get these melons sown, then I'll give it all a little water, not too much because it gets quite moist and quite humid in the setup inside. So you just need to give them a spray occasionally every 2 or 3 days. But if you've got indoor growing space, it's definitely worth it buying one of these setups to get a little bit of a head start on these kind of things. But if you've not got any indoor space, the timings that I've just given you, I'd probably add 2 weeks onto that. So do everything 2 weeks later. So just start these now if you're going to grow them outside. And then in 2 weeks, do these, your tomatoes and your melons, and then leave it like that. The same again. Put your melons in with the taproot facing down. I grow 3 different varieties of melons, 2 that climb, which are like yellow flesh and white flesh, and then I grow 1 watermelon type. With the yellow flesh, I let them climb up strings, and then the watermelons, I let them grow on the ground underneath. And what this does is it protects the soil, and because it gets so hot in the polytunnel, it helps it to stop drying out as quick. So it's like a cover crop for the taller ones, and it really fills the space up as well and looks really good. Once they're all in, same again with the tomatoes, just a little sprinkling on top of fresh compost just to cover up the seeds. And if it's anything like these, by this time tomorrow, 24 hours, there'll already be some sprouting up. It's mad how quick they grow. You may be thinking why my labels are kind of like all staggered, but there's only a certain amount of seeds in the pack when it comes to melons. So I've just gone like down there, and that's one variety, and then this one starts up to there, and then it's this variety, and then that's that one, just to clarify it. I will then put the tray into this bottom seed tray, and using the switch, I'll turn the lights on to the 3 colours, the red, the blue and the white. I'll just run through the quick settings quickly. So you have the blue and the red, which is perfect for once they've first started sprouting out. And then 1 or 2 days after that, you want to switch it to the full spectrum where it's getting all the 3 different colours. And the dimming, I'll just keep it on the highest one. It doesn't really seem to affect anything. I find if it's on the lower one, it makes the seedlings reach a bit more. So I keep it on that. It has got a timing switch, but I just turn it on first thing in the morning, then leave it on all day, and then turn it off before I go to bed at night. So it has about 16 hours of light. And then once the tray is in the, it finishes like that, and they're ready to go. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like always, if you have any questions, please hit us up. We're happy to answer them. I think I need to go and get the hotbed built now because these are going to be ready to go in there soon, and it's not even built yet. It's built, but it just needs filling. So there's going to be a video on that very soon. If you want to see the progress of these, please subscribe and turn on your notifications, and you can follow these along on their little journey until they end up in the polytunnel with big massive melons on them. Anyway, thanks again. Bye bye.